It's John Beaudin, Rock History Music, and Today in History, August 18th. Every 4 or 5 days we want to do this live. So here we are, and this, I spent the entire day doing this one, and part of yesterday because of how excited I was about what happened on this day. If it's your birthday, August 18th, happy birthday to you. If you know someone, as we say every day, whose birthday is today, share this on their timeline. I think they'd appreciate it. Usually we put this out on a taped form at 6 o'clock in the morning, Atlantic, which is like in the middle of the night in the West. But I just wanted to do this one live. So are you ready to roll? And by the way, if you want to help the channel, we're in dire need of a new laptop. This one's so slow, it's unbelievable. A lot of folks have been donating via PayPal to help us get to that number. We're almost there. There's a PayPal link in the description at the very top, or else you can join our Patreon. It's John Beaudin, August 18th. Are you ready to rock? Okay, we'll get to your comments in a second. In 1945, these are people who were born on this day. Sarah Dash, she was with Patti LaBelle and the Bluebirds. And later with LaBelle in Lady Marmalade, she was born on this date. She died in 2021, not that long ago. Nigel Griggs, English musician from Split Enz, born in the United Kingdom on this day. And here he is, great drummer for Foreigner. 1950, Dennis Elliott, English rock drummer, born in London, England. Really liked his style. Always loved the way he drummed. In 1951, John Reese, the guy with the glasses there in the back, from Men at Work. There's two guys who were born on the same day, different years from Men at Work. Probably when they got together, they went, "Hey, you were born on this day? What the heck? We're like blood brothers." John Reese, born in 1951. They had the big hit Down Under and Who Can It Be Now, which was #1 in the UK and in the US. He was born on this day. Of course, Colin Hay is on his own now, doing all the Men at Work stuff. In 1956, John Bermuda Schwartz, American songwriter, born in Chicago in Illinois. We don't have all the pictures today because it just takes too long. 1956, Tony Grenier, American bassist, best known for accompanying Bob Dylan. Since 1989, he was born on this day. Another one, here you go. You'll recognize that guy. He's a very distinctive look. I remember every time I saw Men at Work's pictures, I would gravitate toward this guy because he just had a certain look to him. He didn't look like anybody else. And his name is Ron Stryker, American rock guitarist, Men at Work, Who Can It Be Now, of course. Down Under, born in Victoria, Australia on the 13th of February. Something happened. I remember in 2009 it happened. We did a story on it, which was uncanny and weird. He was arrested because he made death threats to Colin Hay, the lead singer. I'm sure they figured that out. He's still alive. But it's one of those situations. This was almost a headline. He wanted to kill his lead singer, but we came up with something a little bit better, which is coming right up, by the way. Let's do that. In 1964, Audi Darris, German heavy metal guitarist for Halloween from 1994 to present, born in West Germany. In 1967, Blas Elias, American rock drummer for Slaughter, born in Canada, Texas, and seems like, I've seen interviews with him, seems like just an interesting guy. 1967, Don Peters, American drummer for Mad Honey, also played with Nirvana, born in Seattle, Washington. Yeah, it all came from that area, right? In 1971, electronic musician Richard David James, best known for Aphex Twins, is born in Limerick, Ireland. Oh, yes. In 2008, Purvis Jackson, he died at the age of 70. He was with the Spinners. God, I love the Spinners. Rubber Band Man, you can't go wrong, man. And in 2012, Scott McKenzie, remember San Francisco? Be sure to wear a flower in your hair. He dies at 73, member of the Journeymen before he had the solo hit. And this is an interesting story. This almost became the headline of this, but there's so much juicy Today in History stuff today. Jack Sherman, the guy in the picture, died at age 64 of a heart attack at his home in Savannah, Georgia. He's best known for being the second guitarist in Red Hot Chili Peppers, where he replaced Hillel Slovak. Remember on the first album, Hillel was dealing with a lot of stuff. He had his own band. He went off to do that. He thought Red Hot Chili Peppers was going to be sort of a side thing. His band didn't take off. Red Hot Chili Peppers took off. They weren't happy with Jack Sherman, so Hillel came back. And at that point, he and lead singer Anthony Kiedis were knee-deep in heroin addiction. It was incredibly bad. But they were supporting each other. They came out of a tour at one point and they said, we've got to support each other and kind of get this going. The band at the time was actually more concerned with Anthony Kiedis because he seemed like he wasn't doing as well. One was more high-functioning than the other. It doesn't mean one had more of an addiction than the other person. You never know, right? Addiction comes in many forms. Well, at one point, Hillel sort of drew back because he was on 2 full albums and some tours. He came back a little bit and started to become sort of a hermit. His brother, when the band approached Hillel's brother, didn't even know he had a drug problem. So he pulled back a little bit. He called his brother during that time. Then they hadn't heard from him for a few days, and all of a sudden, he was dead. I'm not sure how long he was dead, but I don't know if it's a Lane Staley sort of story where he was in his room for a long time after dying from drug overdose, but that's what happened. Anyway, there's 2 guitarists right there connected, but I found it a fascinating story. I went, what? Seriously? Anyway, let's get to happier times. 1973, Diana Ross, Touch Me in the Morning, hits number 1 and stays there for 1 week. One of my favorite Tull albums. 1973, the Jethro Tull album. A Passion Play hits number 1 in America. Ian Anderson has said that the album is surrounded with his fascination with the hereafter, religion. When I talk to him, I've talked to Ian Anderson, I think 5 times now. Religion always comes up. And he says the album recognizes that age-old conflict between good and evil. And right smack in the middle of A Passion Play comes Jeffrey Hammond narrating with a exaggerated Lancashire dialect the story of the hare who lost his spectacles. And it's well worth listening to. Just look at the play. There's a whole visual play on it on YouTube. You can see it where they played out with ballet dancers, and it's quite brilliant. It's quite beautiful. Jeffrey Hammond, I've asked Ian Anderson about it. He says, that just came out of the crazy mind of Jeffrey Hammond, but it really, really, really well done. In 79, Chic went to number 1 in the U.S. singles charts with Good Times, the group's second number 1. In 1984, George Michael was at number 1 on the UK charts with Careless Whisper, which was solo in the UK, but Wham! In North America. And there we go. In 1986, Bon Jovi released their 3rd studio album, Slippery When Wet, which peaked at number 1 on the US charts, going to sell 28 million copies worldwide. Now that's a spicy meatball. That's crazy, eh? In 1998, after getting dropped by Jive and releasing 2 independent albums, Kid Rock issues Devil Without a Cause, his first album. And in this is a good one. There he is. In 1956, Elvis Presley, Hound Dog, and Don't Be Cruel reached number 1 on the charts. Gotta love Elvis. 1964, the Beatles arrive in San Francisco for the second U.S. visit. In 65, Herman's Hermits lead singer Peter Noone interviews Elvis Presley in Honolulu, where Elvis is filming the movie Paradise, Hawaii Style. In 1966, Paul Jones left Manfred Mann, just as, Pretty Flamingo was climbing the charts. In 1969, Mick Jagger accidentally was shot while filming Ned Kelly. What? And in 69 as well. This is the cover story. Sorry it took us a little while to get here, but it's such an interesting story. A local band named Rush out of Toronto see Led Zeppelin perform in Toronto. Geddy Lee said after the show, we wanted to be them instantly. The show was at the Rock Pile in Toronto, August 18th, 1969. It was their 3rd North American tour. Now, hold on. Geddy Lee told Classic Rock magazine, they were doing 2 shows. Lee remembers, we were at the first show. I went with original drummer John Rutsey, who has since passed. He was only on 1 album, and Alex Lifeson. It was general admission. We lined up for hours. We got in and sat in the second row, and I swear they didn't walk on stage. They floated on stage. They literally brought the house down because at the end of the night, there was plaster falling from the ceiling. There you go. In 1974, Rush released their debut album on their own Moon Records. Now, there's a story behind this and how they got signed. In 74, when Rush got airplay in America, the song was Working Man. Radio station, a certain radio station was fielding calls. People were calling thinking Working Man was Led Zeppelin. I don't see it. I don't get it. This is from Song Facts. This is how they got signed to Mercury Records. A DJ named Donna Halper of WMMS in Cleveland listened to the last track of Working Man and put it on the air, giving the band kind of a lift-off. Here's the criteria for getting played at that radio station. Cleveland was a working man's town, number one. Number two, WMMS was an album-oriented rock station. So that song fit right in. And Working Man was clocked in at 7 minutes and 7 seconds. Gave a DJ, and I know that, I've been in radio 40 years, a time for a smoke. I don't smoke, but time for a bathroom break. So people all thought that this was the deal. These guys were Rush. Oops, Elvis again. And there's John Rutsey on the right, Geddy and Alex. Amazing, amazing. Someone's sending me messages. That's a crazy. Anyway, we've got more. If I can find it. 1977, the Police made their live debut as a three-piece band when they played Rebecca's Birmingham, England. In 1982, the city of Liverpool named 4 streets after the Fab Four: John Lennon Drive, Paul McCartney Way, George Harrison Close, and Ringo Starr Drive. Ba-da! Today in history. I thought I'd do it live. I can never do it early live. Melody R. Hey! Hi, Melody. Nice to have you on here. Life Track. I appreciate you being here as well. Hi, John. One, Melody R. I said, do speak my language. He handed me a Vegemite sandwich. Yeah, men at work. Alex Knight. Sad story about addicts. It's just crazy. And people who have never been there, they never really know, do they? You know, I've never seriously had major addiction. At points in my life, I drank too much. But I kind of went with Bernie Leadon told me a story. He used to drink too much. And Bernie said, what do you do at night? Like after you do because he does his own chores. Bernie Leadon, the Eagles, the original guitarist. He said, I'll sit back and have a beer. I said, well, wait a minute. Aren't you an alcoholic? He said, well, I've learned to sort of, and very few people can do this. He said, I've learned to kind of just temper myself a little bit, and I'm okay. And I thought, well, good for you. I should track down Bernie Leadon again and talk to him. Good guy. So Alex, yeah, sad story. Life Track. How old is Diana Ross? I don't know. You got to look that up. I don't know. But it's not the anniversary of her birthday today. It's just the anniversary of her releasing Touch Me in the Morning. Alex Knight, Hound Dog. Yeah, what a great song, huh? Melody R. I bought the Rush album brand new. Oh, she's 79. Thank you. I thought it was there was 3 intriguing stories today. The fact that, if I'm going to go back, let me find it. Oh, Ron Stryker, who was born in 1957, guitarist for Men at Work. The fact that he threatened, and I remember writing a story on it back in 2009. He threatened Colin Hay, the lead singer, who goes out on his own now and does all the Men at Work stuff. But the Jack Sherman, Hillel Slovak story, both of them are dead. Jack replaced Hillel Slovak, and Hillel died of a heroin overdose, Jack of a heart attack. And the story that Anthony Kiedis, the lead singer of Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Hillel were kind of supporting each other back then. Anthony didn't even go to Hillel's funeral. He basically took off, and he didn't quit drugs at that point. He wasn't quite ready. But at one point, he did visit Hillel's gravestone. And that was sort of a beginning to, it's sobering to visit someone's gravestone because you're looking and going, they're not there. Where are they? Like, what happened? Because I say this all the time, human beings have a problem processing death. It's hard for human beings to process that, going, well, where are they? What happened? Saw them yesterday. And he visited his gravesite. And slowly, and Anthony Kiedis now is just perfectly fine. He's a clown. He's Seems healthy. But Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers said he was never the same after Hillel died. He says it was just a different world. It looked different. So the three of them came out of high school together. They were very, very young. And it's interesting, Hillel thought his big band on the side was going to be the thing, and Red Hot Chili Peppers was going to be the sideline. The other big story was Jethro Tull, A Passion Play, which is, I think, one of their best albums. It's an underrated album with Jeffrey Hammond and the hare who lost his spectacles. At one point he says, "You can, Guru, you can." I like when people play, little tricks with words that way. And of course, Rush, seeing the original three-piece Rush, Alex Lifeson, Geddy Lee, and John Rutsey, seeing Zeppelin in Toronto in '69 and saying, "We want to do that." And getting played with their first album with Working Man on a U.S. radio station, and people phoning in thinking that was the new Led Zeppelin song, where Rush really went out and created their own sound, like really created their own sound, not like Led Zeppelin, more complicated than Led Zeppelin, not any better or worse, because you like something or you don't. But those were the three big stories today that I went, any one of those could be the headline. And that's how you get hits on YouTube now. You can't say, today in history, August 18th. That doesn't work because it doesn't get hits, right? That's why we changed the titles. I told Shannon, my wife, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, but it won't get hits. And she said, oops. She says, oh, maybe it will. But there you go. So thank you for, So thank you for everyone who jumped on today. I appreciate it. Remember, if you want to help us out, we appreciate anyone who helps us out with donations to help us. Please, we got to get to this new computer so that we can do more videos more often. If you want to help us, join our Patreon, or else you can make a donation on PayPal. It's at the very top of the description. We thank you. And remember, if it's August 18th is your birthday, hey, happy birthday. It's your special day. If you know someone who's celebrating today, share this video on their timeline. I'm sure they'd appreciate that. Make sure you comment on our videos. We read all the comments. Share them at the appropriate. If you're a member of a group and you want to share this video anywhere that would be appropriate, please do. We share it on all our groups that we own. And like our videos and subscribe to our channel. This is John Beaudin. This is Rock History Book. We'll be back tomorrow. Take care.